YouTube? It's your boy Atruckernamedjay checking in, man. We here at work. Turn around right quick. Taking a little bit longer today because of a piece of equipment. We had a situation here at the steam plant. One of the pieces of equipment that they normally use to load us with got broke. And I guess it cost $30,000 to repair it. So what they have is a smaller piece of equipment loading us, but it takes a lot longer to load us with that smaller piece of equipment. So basically, before you would get live loaded in about 5-10 minutes. Not even that long, to be honest, maybe 3 minutes because of how big that equipment was. It took really just 3 scoops of ash. Look, you see it right there? That one is smaller than the one that is normally used to load it. So it takes a little long. It takes a little longer. So that's why it's a line. Normally we in and out of here, but that's just a quick update. I'm so used to shit breaking around here. Honestly, who cares at this point, man? As long as so far this week I've only been doing 6 loads a day because of this and other things. I've been in the shop about 3 times this week. Minor stuff. One time they had to fix my glad hand airlines, which is something that I need to learn to do myself. It's a lot of little small stuff I need to learn how to do on my own to keep my day moving versus having to sit and wait for someone. The other time it was a mud flap that was hanging down, and then the other time was a what was it the other time? Oh, my trailer broke. Like the actual, I'll put like a little video up and you can see it. I think it was the piece of the trailer that actually turns and runs off. It runs the conveyor belt, which runs the ash off. Just snapped out of place. Snapped out of place on both sides. So that was interesting. But anyways, that's not the point of this video, man. The point of this video is this, man. So check this out, man. You're 2 years in the game. You may even be 3 years in the game. And you're under the impression that you're very knowledgeable about the trucking industry. You're under the impression that you know, all of the trucking industry, to a point where you don't no longer need any advice. You don't no longer need any type of help or anything like that. Let me explain, and let me be the first one to tell you, you don't know shit about trucking. You don't know anything about trucking. What you have done is you have mastered your division, whether that's drive-in, refrigerated, flatbed, trash hauling, oversized load, whatever. You have mastered that division. You have gotten to a point where you are very knowledgeable in that division to where you can actually make some good profits as a company driver and or lease operator. That's all you've done. But to walk around with 2 years, 3 years experience as if you can't nobody tell you anything, you setting yourself up for failure. You really are, man. You see it all over YouTube, man. Guys walk the walk, but they're not. They're talking the talk, but they're not walking the walk. Hell, you see it on my channel. It's a lot of times, especially when I was at Swift, man, where I thought I had it all figured out. From the different companies I was with, and I really didn't want to listen. I was just arrogant, and that arrogance eventually came back and bit me in the butt every single time, man. And that's part of what I'm learning to I guess so much check myself, here at NBI. But it's just like, it's just so crazy, man, because you see it so much. And it's nice to have confidence. It's nice to be, have a positive attitude towards what you're doing. But just don't let that shit, don't get big-headed out here, man. This trucking industry is so big. Trucking is humongous. It's so many things that go into trucking. For you to think that you have mastered this shit in 2 to 3 years, it's just not an intelligent thought to have. And just even at 5 years, man, you gotta think about other businesses and other career fields, such as doctors and lawyers and just all kind of different career fields. None of them master that shit in 2-3 years or 5 years. It takes some of them 10 years before they have that shit down packed. Now, I'm not saying it's going to take you 10 years to get trucking down packed, but what I am saying is that when you have so many people on social media and YouTube and all these different platforms who are walking around like they have the golden ticket for trucking, period. It's just, there's no way that they can, man, with the amount of experience that they have. I'm almost to the point where if you don't have at least 3 years in doing what you've been doing in that specific division, I almost don't even want your advice, because a lot of advice that you get from people who have less than 3 to 2 years experience, 2 to 3 years experience, it ends up not holding up because they haven't been there long enough to know the full cycle. For example, somebody may have been driving reefer for 6 months, but they don't know that reefer supposedly slows down at some point of the year. Or someone drives in the port for 7 months and they don't know when that slows down. You have to, you know what I'm saying, really go through the cycles of these divisions to thoroughly know them. You need a good 2 to 3 years in them to understand fully this division. So if you got a year experience, year and a half, yeah, you may be able to help someone with less experience than you, but to really, you don't know everything yourself. And I know they say, you know, the minute you stop learning is when you need to get out of trucking. I'm not even talking about that, man. I'm just talking about all this bullshit ass information that's being passed around in the trucking world from people who aren't qualified to even speak about such information. Whether it's because they know nothing about the division that they're speaking of, or they just haven't been there long enough. Or it can go towards companies. People speaking on other companies that they don't know nothing about. Or they're getting information from people who haven't been in that company but for 2 weeks. A lot of people fail leases because of that, because someone told them about this lease company, but the person that told them about this lease company only been there for 2 months, so all they know is the first month where they didn't have no truck payment and their checks was $2,000-$3,000 a week, so they thinking it's love. Then you come back and ask that same person 3 to 4 months later what they think about the company. It's a whole nother perception. It's a whole nother, you know what I'm saying, thought process about it. So it's just like, you know, that's just where I'm at with it. I'm very hesitant on the advice that I try to give out, just because really the only place that I can say that I was at long enough to even attempt to give any advice on was Swift. And even with Swift, man, it's just like I haven't been there now in 5 months. I've been here at MBI for 5 months now, almost exact, which is crazy because that flew by. But not bad for a guy that used to job hop all the time, right? Being somewhere for 5 months, crazy. I think the only companies I stayed at for 5 months were Swift and Abilene. Oh, I can't say that company no more. My bad. But Swift and the Green Truck Company. Let me stop being petty. But no, on a serious note, man, then also what I've learned, man, and I've talked about this before, as far as the maintenance on these trucks, man, if you ain't been out here 4 years, I can't take your information about no maintenance on no truck, because you really don't even know. You really don't even know, man. Hold on right quick. I'm going to pause the video. I got to pull my truck up to get loaded. All right, we back. So yeah, I had to move the truck up to get loaded, but yeah, anyways, like I was saying, man, like I said, at the end of the day, to make a long story less long, if you don't have a certain amount of experience, if you don't have over, I'll say 3 years experience, and some people may say it may take longer than that. You may have a 20-year vet come on this video and say you think you're going to get it till 5 years, but unless you have a certain amount of experience, man, just stay, I would say just stay humble in what you do, because you don't know enough to be walking around arrogant and to be walking around like your plan is so foolproof, because 9 times out of 10 that shit gonna fail if you don't know what you're talking about. That's just the reality of trucking. You know, even though I'm fairly, I ain't gonna say I'm comfortable here, because you never want to be comfortable at any place, but I like it where I'm at NBI, but I still know I got a lot to learn. And a lot to learn about how this stuff runs, just the different seasons, and the, you know, just a lot of different things that still are, I'm still green to, because I switched division. Now, if I'd have spent my whole 2.5 years in reefer or drive-in, then I probably would be to a point where I'm starting to enter into the realm of, you know, I got a good grasp on how stuff runs as far as, you know, rates and all that stuff, and, you know, if I was an owner-op or whatever. But because I have, you know, I ain't gonna say handicap myself, but because I have, set myself back continuous time because I have done so many different things: drive-in, reefer, containers, and now hauling trash and ash. You know, I have to start learning all of it. And I think maybe that's why I had a lot of issues, or I would get so frustrated with this company when I first came here and started experiencing these breakdowns as frequently as I broke down, because I just wasn't accustomed to it. It was almost like a culture shock. And that's what happens in trucking when you switch divisions or you switch companies. You're so accustomed to things running and working the way that they do, especially when you've been there for at least 2 years, or you've been doing it for at least 2 years, and you go and you do something else, and it's just like, wait a minute, this isn't my comfort zone, or wait a minute, this isn't what I'm used to doing, this isn't doing what I wanted to. So now you become frustrated and you become irritated because you have to learn it all over. You're green again, and you just came from this place of feeling almost superior because you knew exactly what to do, when to do it. Now you're having to be told and trained and just relearned, and you just got to be open to that. You know, it'll make you a better driver in the long haul, but short term it's going to be a frustrating situation. That's just the way I look at it. You know what I'm saying? So just, you know, do with that information as you will. For you rookies coming in, you're going to be rookies for a while. Don't think once you get 6 months experience and can train somebody else that makes you a vet. Now, you still a rookie. I'm still a rookie. You know what I mean? Realistically, man, most of us stay rookies until we retire. That's just what it is, because there's always something changing. There's always something new. There's always something different, you know, new and different, kind of the same thing. So whatever. Repetitive statement. But anyways, man, that's just what was on my mind. I just want to make it into a video. I'm going to put these 2 videos out, or these 2 parts of this video. Probably put them out sometime this week. Probably put it out tomorrow or the next day. I'm trying to pump out more consistent content for you guys, since my channel has become boring. We'll talk about that later. But, you know, as always, man, it's your boy Atruckernamedjay signing out. As always, stay safe, stay positive, stay productive. God, family, trucking, we gone.
Bye, YouTube. Thanks for watching the video.